right, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, June 16th, 2025. So, welcome to another all access lesson from iMusicAcademy. This is our all access group that goes live on Mondays and Thursdays, but we've been going live lately for our YouTube community. So, we welcome you guys and hope that you enjoy this lesson. So, this is a 30-minute lesson. We're going to go over 5 positions for blues and jazz. Hey, Rick, good to see you, all access member. Love that you're on early. At least it's early for me this morning, Rick. Good to see you. Hey, Vance, good to see you. Vance joining in on the all access lesson. I've been doing a lot of these on YouTube lately, giving people a taste of what it's like to be in our academy. All right, so good to see you, Vance and Rick. So as other people come in, do what you guys always do and say hello to each other. So in the next 30 minutes, we're going to cover 5 really awesome jazz positions, actually blues, but it's blues and jazz, either or. And I think you guys are going to be really encouraged with this idea because we're going to pick 5 different, well, I've already picked 5 different positions that I feel that if you get into these positions, you have some really awesome things that you can do. And it's going to give you a lot of confidence. So good to see you, Stan. Hope you're doing well. All right, so guys, the first one we're going to do, and we're going to kind of go in a descending fashion. We're going to use a backing track. So remember that your middle finger goes on whatever key you're in. J-Man. Everybody say hey to J-Man. Good to see you. J-Man is in the house. Hey, J-Man, you're going to love this lesson. This is geared toward you, J-Man. I had you in mind when I came up with this lesson right here. All right, so the first position that we know we can get into, and it's going to sound amazing, is putting your middle finger on your right hand on whatever key you're in. Let me turn on the track. Let's get right in as you guys are saying hello. I'll just show you how simple this is. Middle finger, we're in the key of C, so I'll just do a right hand only improv right now. So you have this idea. You can let me know if my piano needs to go up or the track. I'll just boost the track a little bit so I can hear it. Now notice that I have the root, the 5th, the flat 7, and I've told you guys that whenever you put your middle finger, hover it over whatever key you're in. My thumb's naturally going to hover over the 5th. My index finger is going to be over the flat 7, and the minor 3rd on top. Every note's going to work on any chord. I can do a triplet. Or just keep it real simple. And 2 and 3 and okay, let me go ahead and stop that and say hello in the chat. I have the window up where the backing track is. I want to make sure I say hello to everyone. All right, so J-Man, we have Rick, we have Vance, we have Vicky. Good to see you, Queen Vic. Glad that you're here this morning. Good to see you, Doug. Doug is a YouTube member from our membership on YouTube. Good to see you. Awesome. All right, so is everybody understanding? We have a lot of people watching this morning, which is awesome. So let's do some real-time practice. We have 5 different positions I'm going to show you to really give you that success you're looking for in your improv. And just so we're clear here, right now I'm doing a very simple left-hand voicings that can be used in blues or a simple jazz. And all I'm doing is we talk about chord formulas. So from a C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, we do 3, flat 7, and 9. That's a C9 voicing. It's going to work great blues or jazz, right? We're good there. It's going to go to the 4 chord, and we're going to use an F13, which is more jazz than blues, but it still works. Hey, Hugh, good to see you. The bookends of iMusicAcademy, always on at the beginning, the middle, and at the end. Good to see you, Hugh. So we have this 3, flat 7, 9. This is our chord formulas from left to right. Now, everybody watching, either an all-access member, you guys know this, but maybe you're hanging out on YouTube and you're more on the beginner side, please remember this. Whenever you're spelling chords, you do it left to right, 3, flat 7, and 9. And as I'm going up, whatever key I'm in, whatever chord I'm working on, I think of that major scale. So if I'm in the key of C and then my one chord is C, I'm going to give you a C9, a 3 flat 7 9. When it goes to the F7 chord, these bottom notes go down by a half step, and now you have an F13. But I'm thinking about the flat 7 of the F scale, the 3rd, and the 13. And the reason I can call these extensions on the top a 13 is because I have a flat 7 and I'm stacking notes on top. So we have 3 chords in this entire blues for today. We have C9, F13, and G13. And I love the interaction between our members and even our YouTube community, so thank you guys for that. Okay, so the first thing we've already talked about is this idea, and I want you guys to acknowledge that you got this and understand this. And really quickly, since we're doing real-time practice, go ahead and yell out any particular key. Somebody yell out a key, and remember, middle finger goes on whatever key you're in. I'm going to do right now, just to kind of get the ball rolling. Whenever I'm using the track, we'll be using the bass drums and U, but also we can go solo piano and just do a little simple root 5th, root 6, 5-2 to 5-1, and as we demonstrate these things. So my middle finger goes on C, right? Even over the F chord. Triplets. G chord still works. And then maybe the blues scale coming down. That's the great thing about that. This little trick, this one little trick, we're still on the first position. All right, so a couple of keys. Real quick, I'm going to answer Stan. So Stan said the G13, yes. So this same formula for here, when you go up to the 5 chord of the C blues, you get to a G13, and that's the flat 7 of the G scale, the 3rd, and the 13. And the reason we call that the 13 is because we have the flat 7, and we're stacking notes on top, left to right. Whatever key whatever chord you're trying to build, you think of that major scale. So that's why it's important for us to learn our major scales. I want you to know that C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So whenever I'm spelling a chord formula, I'll use the scale of C. When I go to the F chord, I'm thinking flat 7, 3, 13. From an F scale, that's F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. And from a G scale, that's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And if you're new to music in general or new to the blues and you're having trouble spelling out your major scales, I have a really cool way of thinking about that. So you just email me. You can get in touch with me. You can do bob@iMusicAcademy.com. You can do iMusicAcademy1@gmail.com. There are different ways. You could just leave a comment if you'd rather do that and say you need help with your scales. But I want people to be able to say your scales going up, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, or going down, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So I have some fun little things that I've developed over the years, and I think they'll be really helpful to you. So then Rick says E flat. So Rick, if we're playing blues in E flat, my middle finger is going to go on E flat, and notice how my thumb naturally hovers over the 5th. My flat 7 is there with my index finger, and then there's the minor 3rd right there. So I could put a root 5th and root 6 with that. And this A flat is the 4 chord of the E flat blues. And it'll sound better down here. And then the 5 chord is B flat. And then Vance says G. So G scale, and I say, all right, middle finger goes on G. Now notice my thumb is hovering over the 5th. There's my flat 7, and there's my minor 3rd. All those notes are going to work. So you guys know, and especially our All Access group, is we have about 27 or so bass lines that we've done, at least that I can think of and that I've written out. But let's just say you have this idea of this G major, this blues scale thing right here that we're talking about that gives you the minor 3rd on top. I could go. It'll sound better down here. So then I go to the C. So just by changing your bass lines, and there are so many different bass lines you could do over this. You could do 8th notes if you want. All right, now I think we've gone over enough little tricks with that very first pattern for you guys to know how awesome that is. And really quickly, I'm just going to turn on the track one more time so that you can hear how nice and how easy it is. You put your middle finger on whatever key you're in, and I had this. And let me know if it's the right volume. Does the track need to be louder? You want to play a little bit and then let a little time go by. So and then maybe end with a little enclosure to get back to the top. It's so nice that any note out of that pattern is going to work. Okay, and that's just the very first thing. All right, volume is good. That's very important, and thank you for that. All right, let me just check. Volume is good. You will feel like Oscar. That's right. That's right. Oscar Peterson uses that minor third all the time. There's so many different licks we can do with that one thing. But at first, just know that this will help with your transposition. You can pick any key. I go D. Okay, there it is in D. And whatever key you're in. See? Okay, and also works for minor as well. So we'll talk about that later. Okay, so that's the first pattern. The second one we're going to talk about is our flat 7. This is a great position to get into. So as I do a descending pattern, we know this. I tell you that I feel like I've help kids when I say like my jazz students that are in high school and some of them in college, that even doing this has sort of changed their jazz life. Because you get this idea of the flat 7, gives you that major third on a C chord. Or if I go to the F chord and I get to the flat 7 of F, right? This idea and this position right here, I think this is a great position for everybody to get under your fingers. And you can do the fingering in the key of C. You just go 3, 2, 1, 3, and you can roll it up if you want, or you can go right to the note. And you can go to C if you want. Whenever you go to the F chord, you can do that. So let's just listen to see how this position sounds when we use our backing track. 2, 1, 2. I'm just going to come down the scale. I'm going to go. And then let a little time go by and do it again. And 1 and 2. Now we're going to go to the E flat because F chord. And I know there's a little tension on that B flat on the F chord. But you'll figure out where it works and sounds good. All right, starts over. Let's do that again. Isn't that just really nice to be able to do that? Let me tell you a couple of things that should be encouraging. As you go through something like this, one, you're not starting on the root. You're not going, right? You're not starting on the root, which a lot of time is a normal thing for all of us. I used to do it as well, as you would do all of your licks and ideas where you're starting on the root or starting on the downbeat. And this sort of frees you up a little bit. So you're starting on the flat 7 of the C chord and you're coming down. And right, even this one idea can connect to any of the other positions. So just know as you're learning that you're getting this area. So first we did this, position 1, but this also can transition to this. All right, so let's keep going down. Let me check to see. All right, did I see? I don't want to make sure if we have anyone. Fairly new. Yes, you can sound like Oscar Peterson next week. Promise, Stan. Let me show you. All right, I just want to say staccato, left hand win. Yeah, so all right, so Stan asked a really good question. So I love to teach these kinds of things, but not on this lesson because we have a really focused lesson on the 5 positions. But one of the things you can do, Stan, is use this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we do different things at iMusicAcademy in our lessons. Sometimes we say, all right, you can play things slow and straight. So I could do this. This is not a segue. This is just a little tip for Stan. Is if you're doing the 5-note blues scale, which is one thing we like to teach, is 1 and 2 and. Notice that the F sharp is where I hit the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Notice that I'm doing it slow and straight. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. We also do the and of 2 and the and of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I like to teach these ways to lock up the hands so that you can get the confidence to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you will get it. But there are certain ways that you can break this down to where it becomes automatic, and really it becomes 2 things. It becomes muscle memory, but also you know what you want to hear, and you'll start to hear it. So it's not just muscle memory. You want the sound of 2 and 3. And when I first learned about that, how to play left-hand voicings in the swing pattern, and it really takes your playing to a new level, and you really enjoy that. Yeah, here comes the jazz police. He's the speed police, so I'm going to make sure I am doing it at the right speed today for today's lesson. Good to see you, Richard. Thank you for the compliment on the lesson. Okay, so Rick says it's a little bit different starting on that flat 7. I love starting on that flat 7 because in this case it's a descending line and it's getting us to that major third. Okay, the very next thing is, let's go on to the next pattern. For the sake of time, this is a 30-minute lesson, and being real, we always go till 35 and then we wrap up no later today than 40 after, but I think I'm going to shut it down at 35 after. So let's go to the third pattern. So this is the first position, this is the second position. One more thing about the second position is I think Cruella de Vil, right? This idea, Cruella de Vil. You want one lick to make you sound like $1,000,000? This is really good. Isn't that nice? The Cruella de Vil lick, you have, and I've done, like Blues Volume 2 has really long licks where you go. And it combines 3 different licks into one, but just the simplicity of I'm calling that as a part of this section right here on the piano. So you're here for position 1, you're here for position 2, but also is included is this area right here. And Doug says we have 14 people watching. Yes, we've had a lot of activity here. And now, of course, we're going live for our All Access group as well as open on YouTube. But I love when we get other people chiming in, like Richard. It's good to see Richard. And Stan to say hello in the chat. That's awesome. Okay, so is everybody good on the Cruella de Vil lick? You want to get bluesy in your playing. Even Oscar Peterson would do this all the time. Don't think like a saxophone player or a trumpet player or something, or a piano player. dum dum bum bum. Now, so as we go on to the third pattern, I want you guys to know something, that even if you feel like you're not a singer, you're not used to singing out loud, singing your phrases, if you just took one idea like position 1, ba, and try to match the pitch, and even if it takes you a while, ba, bo, da, 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 dum, you will start to get it. Ba, bo, da, 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 ba, da. And then you make music with it. Ba, ba, da, da. And then in your mind, you start to say ba, ba, dum, bum, ba, bum. And then you don't even have to play it, and you're already doing music. Ba, bo, do, da, dee, dum. Ba, bo, do, da, dee, dum. Bo, dee, dum. Ba, dee, dum. Bo, da, bo, do, da, dee, dum. Dee, da, dee, da, da, ba, ba, da, 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 da. And you'll start to notice that you get a lot of confidence by being able to sing even your simple phrases. And it takes a little bit. Like, you have to practice it. Don't worry about how your voice sounds. You can do this stuff. You just have to break it down and think very simple with it. Okay, now we're going on to the third pattern. I decided that the third pattern would be the F sharp. And the reason this is important is because is the blues scale. And if I start, now this is tension starting on the F sharp, that is for sure tension. Now, I'm not even if you just did this right here. Watch closely what I'm doing here. If you notice that this is the 5-note blues scale that we've been working on, and I put fingers 2 and 3, so I go F sharp to G. You've heard this all the time. Everybody heard that lick before? Yeah, that's really cool. You go, like you've heard this kind of boogie woogie sound, and you hear. So this idea, this is over a fast blues of all the kinds of things. Thank you for the nice compliment about it being easy to follow. That's awesome. I really appreciate that, Stan. Okay, guys, so watch this. As I'm doing this F sharp to G, we could do a lot of things. We could go 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, da 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 da, holding that top note. But even just this idea of, I could do that over the whole blues. Or I could go. And that time I took this lick, and then I played the blues scale, but I went 2, 3, 5, 4. And then I could do that, this idea of getting back to the top. And whenever you see me do this right here and I go 3 up to the root, remember that that's like a turnaround from whenever we do this in C, I go. Right, that's right out of Blues Volume 1. But this idea of, it's just kind of an enclosure, not really on the top note, but it's getting to the minor third to major third and then up to the root. And that helps us get back to the top of the form is all that is, okay? So the next thing is remember this. If you want one fun thing to practice this. And that gets you in the position of the blues scale, and you're using the F sharp, the G, and if you want to, you can go back down the blues scale and get to that octave, the C octave, okay? Awesome. All right, so Ken says 20 minutes late and I've caught up. Awesome. But then again, I know my blues scales, all of them. Hey, that's awesome, Ken. And so since Ken is telling us about that blues scale, I know that Ken knows the importance of the blues scale, and glad that he's caught up. And what's really important that I want everybody to know is that as you get your blues scales down, now remember that I always tell you that there are usually two different fingerings to play in all keys. If I play this blues scale all the way up, I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, let's say, for instance. If I go up a half step, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So a little bit different fingering this, but when I go to D flat, I'll use the first finger again. And when I go up again, I'm going to use 1, 2, 3 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So as I learn my entire blues scale, there are a couple different fingers you can do to play in all keys. But let's simplify this even more. The first 5 notes of the blues scale is what I think is so important, because just like Ken knowing all of those, everybody can learn the first 5 notes of every blues scale that we have. And even if you're a beginner, you could take 1 or 2 scales. Like you can do what we call the up-down approach. So I start on C and I go C blues scale, 5-note pattern. Now I'm going to go up, and let's say that my focus is to get D flat down. So I get up into the keys a little bit. And then let's say I practice that for a while, I go back to my comfort key, and then I go down a half step and try to learn it in B, and I get up into the keys a little bit. So just know there's a process to learn all your blues scales. Because imagine, just like I said, you can take the very first position and go, all right, whatever key I'm in, I just put my middle finger there. If I'm in B, my middle finger goes on B. Right? If I went up a half step, I use the same pattern there. So there are little tricks you can learn, but this is a great one. Learning this 5-note pattern, and I have them written out in all keys, and I have training videos in all keys, but you guys can do this stuff. But remember, this is a process. This is not learn everything in one lesson. This right here that I'm teaching you right now, this first position, is something we review often at iMusicAcademy. Same thing with this. In my course, the 20 tips for 5-minute practice success, we do this kind of stuff. Get into that Ray Charles kind of feel. All right, now we have 2 more positions to go over. Here's your quick review. You have your middle finger on C. That's one position. That gets you the minor third on top. And then you have this right here. And what this does is it gets you starting on a different note than the root or the minor third, and it gives you that flat 7 that really gets you in the idea of playing some blues. And then you go minor third to major third. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Right? Everybody love that? And then you have Cruella de Vil, which is a part of this area, this shape. Our third position, just as a reminder, we did the F sharp, the 4th note of the key. And speaking of Oscar Peterson, I tell you guys a lot that Oscar Peterson just destroyed this idea of the C to F sharp, like that interval right there. And it's a fun interval to practice playing, but also from your blues. Listen how nice that is. Just the idea of using that tritone. I could go. Even on G. Let me do that one more time. So just some clarity there. Whenever I do this kind of lick, this is a little bonus. We have time. We have 5 minutes. If I play a C chord, C7 chord, and I go C, E, G, B flat, and then if I just move my index finger up a whole step, I'm perfectly in the shape for this lick right here. Isn't that amazing? I always say always a lot, but I do love to remind you that when you look at things from a visual standpoint, if I say C7 chord, and I say that's a basic 1, 3, 5 and flat 7, and then I take my index finger and go up a whole step. Now I'm perfectly, from a visual standpoint, set up for this lick. And then I can do this, and then it turns into a F triad, and then it's just minor third to major third. The great thing about minor third to major third licks, and what I mean by that is, if I say Cruella de Vil, minor third to major third, right? Minor third to major third. You can take those to the different chords. When you're doing a C blues, I can go here, I can go. When I go to the F chord, watch this, minor third to major third. Minor third to major third. Even on G, minor third of G. Now, so notice that I'm doing, it's got a minor third to major third lick in. So when I go to G or F chord, I can do the same thing. There's your minor third to major third of F. Minor to major third of G as well. So that's just a fun little tip that whenever you go to your different chords, C, F, and G in this case, you can use those minor third to major third licks over each chord, and it's going to sound fantastic. And we know that one of the most amazing things about the blues is that if you're playing a blues in the key of C and I play my entire blues scale, those notes are going to work over the C chord, F chord, G. So that's just a fun little reminder, is that if you're in the C blues and you need something to play, you have this shape. It's going to work over every single chord of the C blues. Okay, we have 2 more shapes to do. We've done this one. We did the flat 7 with the Cruella de Vil, and then we did this one where we said the Oscar Peterson kind of thing. All right, J-Man is out. Everybody say goodbye to J-Man. We have 2 more minutes, and then we're all out on this lesson. But so good to see you, J-Man. All right, and J-Man, you'll be able to fast forward to see what the last 2. The last 2 are actually really easy and really important. This reminder of, right, you have your C triad, I go ba-da-da-da-da-bum. I'm visualizing the C triad, and I go. And what's nice about this is I go. I'm doing an enclosure on the third, and watch when I go to the F chord. There it is right there, flat 7 of F. Let me do that again. So even this idea of I'm not even doing the Ray Charles stuff. Like, all the Ray Charles stuff is right here, and you guys know that this is our area. We talk about all of our blues ideas and things that we talk about all the time. We do think about the C triad. And that's why, one of the reasons why I saved these last 2 positions, we went in descending order, but I want everybody to visualize the C triad. So you have da-da-da-da-da-da, our enclosure on E, da-da-da-da-da, and then you have this idea of, when it goes to the flat 7, the F chord, you go, there's the flat 7 of F, so I could just hang out there all day. Do-da-da-da-da. Okay, you have da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, so Vance, even over blues, it's both. Although if I'm playing a straight ahead blues, I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing a bebop kind of sound, but you still have your minor third to major third. So you have, right, that's your minor third, right? That's very simple blues, but you also, even when I do that, That's as basic as you can get. Which leads us to the very last one. This idea of the bottom half of the blues scale, you go down 3 half steps and you end on the A blues scale. That's one of my favorite tips is if you're on a C blues, go down 3 half steps and play the first 4 notes of the A blues scale. Yeah, and then as we wind up, and Ken is right, less is sometimes less is more. Totally 100% agree, and that's why you can take these simple ideas and go and have that be one little idea that you play all the way through, or the first 4 notes of the blues scale, and occasionally you want to hit that minor third to major third kind of sound. All right, we've done 5 positions. I hope you've really enjoyed this lesson. I have really enjoyed teaching you guys this lesson, and I had one more tip that I was going to remind you as it relates to this stuff. Stan asked about Oscar Peterson and sounding like Oscar Peterson. So here's your tip, Stan, is that if you took this idea and you play the 1, you play your octave, and then go up to the 4th note, which is the F and C, and put your E flat. So you go. You could do it up here. But just get that idea of F, C to E flat. And then I'm just doing a C minor triad. So that when I go to the F chord, I can do the same thing. Now, I've got Oscar Peterson licks for days that I could show you, but we're not going down that road. Hey, all right, guys, good to see you. Everybody take the next 30 seconds to say goodbye to each other, and I will see Chord Academy on for tomorrow's lesson, and I'll see All Access on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. We've had a lot of people on iMusicAcademy this morning. Thank you for hanging out. I've been getting some, as you guys are saying goodbye to each other, I've been getting some really nice feedback. One piano teacher, she bought some of my resources and she's been using them to teach her students, which I think is awesome. It's one of my favorite things to hear is when people are using this stuff. So, all right, let me do my shout outs and I'll see you guys in the next video. Shout out to Rick again. Rick was first on today. Vance was a close second. Vance is a YouTube channel membership. I'm trying to tell the next right person to join our channel, our YouTube channel. We have tons of resources in there. Stan, good to see you. We have J-Man, who's All Access. Of course, Rick is. And Vicky, All Access YouTube member. Doug is a YouTube channel member, which is awesome. Hugh is an All Access member. Good to see you. Dad is an All Access member and YouTube channel member. And so is Hugh, by the way. He's both. J-Man is All Access. Good to see you. Stan, thanks for hanging out on the channel. Richard, great to see you. Richard is not a member of any of the channels, but a huge supporter of iMusicAcademy. Richard, thank you so much for hanging out, as always. We got Doug, let's see. And Ken. Ken is up to speed on all his blues skills. I think that's awesome. Perfect. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome day. Speed police. Gotta watch those guys.